Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Frank Ocean has canceled his show at Coachella 2023's second weekend, following what was previously a highly anticipated but ultimately disastrous headline performance. Keep watching this video to find out what happened during Frank Ocean's disastrous Coachella comeback. Frank Ocean knows what his audience wants. Frank Ocean has always insisted on the freedom to do anything he wants. In many ways, his unwavering pursuit of artistic and personal independence has elevated him to the ranks of greatest artists of our time. However, his Coachella attendees became collateral damage on Sunday. Ocean's long-awaited performance, his first since 2017, appeared premeditated from the start to see how much he could get away with. The reclusive star came out an hour later than expected on the main stage. When the show finally started, the audience was greeted by a procession of men in hoodies marching back and forth silently. We were left to speculate which one was Ocean, if he was even present at all. The stage had been converted into a massive screen. Ocean's set includes microphones and keyboards tucked up in the back, like a cave inside the LED display. Except for a few lucky fans in the first few rows, Ocean and his band were virtually invisible to the audience. When the camera did show him, it was usually from behind his head, or his face was concealed by shadows. The performance art piece. People screamed and chanted, "Frank, Frank, Frank," the first time they saw Ocean's face on the big screen. Ocean seemed to be experimenting with limits, perhaps creating some kind of performance art piece to test the strength of our commitment, or he was trolling. It was impossible to detect the difference, as is often the case with enigmatic geniuses. He finally performed his first song, a shortened remix of Novocaine, after nearly 10 minutes, before launching into a little-known, unreleased track that premiered on Blonded Radio 2 years ago. A meditative piano ballad that few in the audience would recognize, let alone know the lyrics to. The presentation continued in this spirit, teasing the audience with snippets and glances. For long stretches, Ocean would leave the stage, allowing the camera to focus on DJ Crystal Mess, or New Orleans bounce artist Ha Sizzle, who was disguised as an enthusiastic security guard. Ocean altered the arrangements, tempos, and melodies of his well-known classics, resisting the audience efforts to sing along. The highlights. Ocean did not perform live vocals for fan favorites including Chanel, Nikes, and Knights, instead playing studio versions and mouthing along while pacing around the stage. At one point near the conclusion, Ocean appeared to be performing a new song, a Willie Nelson cover, but was actually off stage the entire time. Instead, the camera was centered on a young musician named Josiah, who Ocean described as his inner child. The evening was not without its delights. Ocean performed a euphoric remix of Solo, sung White Ferrari for the first time, and wowed the audience with acoustic versions of Pink Plus White and Self-Control. There's certainly something to be argued for the sense of exclusivity. Billboard described the show as a one-night-only live documentary that provided a rare glimpse into Ocean's creative process. However, the overall vibe was eclectic at best and self-indulgent at worst, disconnected from the hopes and expectations of fans who paid hundreds of dollars to attend. In contrast to the conventional festival experience, Ocean's act invited us to observe rather than participate, almost like a play rather than a concert. After nearly an hour and 20 minutes of music, Ocean made the heartbreaking revelation, "I'm being told it's curfew, so that's the end of the show." Many people in my section of the crowd thought the statement was a joke because it was so blunt and unfeeling. One even said it was a social experiment, challenging less devoted admirers to leave. Some people refused to leave their positions, yelling Ocean's name, and pleading with security guards to reveal his true intentions, but he never returned. Ocean has previously experimented with the concept of celebrity, the excessive amount of faith that people place in their favorites, and the adoration that always follows. His visual album, Endless, which premiered exclusively on Apple Music in 2016, is the most noteworthy example. Endless, a black and white webcast that showed Ocean constructing a staircase while listening to ambient and instrumental music. It arrived 5 long years after Ocean's beloved debut album, Channel Orange, so he was aware that the entire world was watching. The effect was designed to be lackluster. Endless completed his contract with Def Jam, but was quickly overshadowed by Blonde, which he released shortly after on his own label. No apologies. Ocean's indifference in touring Blonde and his enigmatic social media presence have only added to his mystique, imbuing his few moments of fan service with even more hype and devotion. But when Ocean abruptly exited the stage on Sunday night without apologizing or even saying goodbye, his limitations became clearer. Putting a human being on a pedestal, especially one you've never met, is unhealthy, and equating talent with morality can be deadly. Ocean's mythos has enabled him to avoid criticism in ways that many celebrities would envy, but this does not automatically make him a better guy. With that, we come to the end of the video. What, in actuality, does an artist owe his fans? Nothing is the most accurate answer, but there's a bond formed between the performer and the audience that many, including myself, regard as sacred. When a relationship is tested or taken for granted, it's always worthwhile to reevaluate the dynamic. It's tempting to defend Ocean's performance as a vast artistic vision, too profound for the common audience to grasp, but I believe it overestimates him. It's just more difficult to accept the power imbalance, that the artist you admire is probably unaware of your existence.